وبعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Our dear brothers and sisters in Islam, great personalities who are intending to visit the Holy Land in order to discharge the obligation of Hajj. I would like to congratulate all of you for this opportunity that has been granted to you by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to perform Hajj this year. May Allah the Most High make it possible for all of us. May Allah the Most High ease our tasks. May Allah the Most High make the Hajj acceptable one, and not only acceptable, but may Allah the Most High make it a Hajj al-Mabrur, which the Prophet ﷺ said that it has no reward except Jannah. May Allah grant us Jannah. My brother, my Malam, Sheikh Muhammad Kabir has discussed a very vital aspect of this great journey, which is preparation for Hajj and Umrah. In view of the fact that whatever you want to do and you want to succeed in that particular thing you are doing, you must get yourself prepared well in order to achieve best from that thing. Something very small like your journey or your transport from your various house to this place requires preparation. Because had it been you did not prepare yourself, you did not prepare your vehicle or your transport money, you did not wake up early, prepare early, and then come, you wouldn't have been here. You would have been in your various houses. So if transport that covers just few kilometers, like 5-10 kilometers requires preparation, what more of a journey you are embarking upon, that you are leaving behind your family, your business, and everything indeed. Going to a particular country where you will spend, depending on your journey, especially pilgrims from the government, not private tours. They will spend, some of them will spend as much as 40 days, some 30 days, some depending on the situation. And even if it is private arrangement, you will spend not less than 15 or 10 days. So this requires a very, very serious preparation. As he said, please and please, this is the beginning and the backbone of your success to this journey. If you prepare well, by the grace of Allah, you are going to achieve best from this journey by the special grace of Allah. Just as we were students some years ago, we passed through primary, secondary school, up to university education. We know how important it is for one to prepare. Because if you do not prepare well, exam is coming, you must sit for exam. And your success in your examination is determined by your level of preparation. So, and this journey is a journey whereby you are going to earn paradise by the special grace of Allah. So now, having discussed the issue of preparation for Hajj, then now what we are going to discuss is how to perform what? How to perform Umrah. How to perform Umrah. Before we start, please, may I know how many of you had performed Hajj before? Signify by raising your hand, please. Among the brothers, how many of you have performed Hajj before? One. Okay. Our sisters, how many of you have performed Hajj? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Okay. I'm asking this question, but when you come to the miqat, that is where after performing your prayer inside the mosque and you come out, you board your bus, that is when you declare your ihram. For the umrah, as people who are going to perform Hajj Tamattu, what do you say? You say, Labbaik Allahumma umratan. Labbaik Allahumma what? Labbaik Allahumma umratan. Oh Allah, I have answered your call to perform what? Umrah. That is what? That is your intention. Labbaik Allahumma umratan. After resolving, committing yourself in your heart to perform that umrah, then you make an utterance. Labbaik Allahumma umratan. Then from there, you start chanting talbiyah. What is talbiyah? Talbiyah means Labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik, innal hamda wan ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika lak. This is known as what? Talbiyah. Talbiyya. It's known as what? Talbiyah. It is the slogan of Hajj. The Prophet ﷺ said that if a pilgrim raises his voice to chant Talbiyah, whatever is around him of trees, grasses, pebbles will also pick Talbiyah along with him. That's why you are expected to raise your voices as men with the Talbiyah. Women should do their own silently. So, from the point you said, Labbaik Allahumma umratan, then already you have declared intention for your umrah. Then what follows? The prohibitions of ihram. The prohibitions of ihram, known as mahaduratul ihram. Immediately you declare your intention to perform either Hajj or umrah, then follow what? The prohibitions. There are some things that are prohibited. You must not perform any of them. What are those things? Some of those things are classified into three. Some of them are specifically prohibited for women. Some of them are specifically prohibited for men. And some of them are prohibited for both men and women. Is that understood? Then what are those things prohibited? 1, cutting of fingernail. 2, shaving. 3, covering one's head for women. 4, using niqab or hand gloves. 5, hunting. 6, contracting of marriage. 7, sexual intercourse between spouses. And what else? These are the things prohibited. So if you look at them, you see that they are classified into 3. For example, if you say covering of head, that applies to who? Applies to men. Because women are already dressed, they are in their hijab, so it does not apply on them. Cutting fingernail, it applies to both men and women. Applying perfume applies to both men and women. Contracting of marriage, both men and women. Sexual intercourse between spouses, both men and women. Putting on facial veil, niqab, it applies to who? Only women. Hand glove applies to who? Only women. Is that understood? So these are the prohibitions of ihram. They are known as mahaduratul ihram in Arabic. Prohibitions of what? Prohibitions of ihram. Every pilgrim who has declared his or her intention to perform Hajj or Umrah must not commit any of them until the time he or she has finished completely the Umrah or the Hajj and now take off ihram garment, then the things are now permissible. Is that clear? So what are we discussing, please? We are discussing pillars of Hajj, and one of them is ihram. That is what we are discussing. We are answering some 6 questions we ask ourselves about ihram. What is ihram? We successfully answered that question. Everyone knows what ihram is. Is that understood? What are the preparations you make before taking ihram? We have answered that. How to take ihram, we have answered that. What are those things prohibited? After taking ihram, we have answered that. Next, penalty. If a pilgrim commit any of them, any of these things, he is liable to penalty. And this penalty depends upon the circumstance leading to committing that offense and the time it is committed. Let me repeat myself. If a pilgrim violate any of those things that have been prohibited, we said he is liable to a penalty. And the penalty he is going to serve depends on the circumstance why he or she violate that prohibition. Number two, the time the violation took place. What is the explanation of this? If a pilgrim violates any of them out of forgetfulness, or he does it deliberately, or, so this, you see, this is the circumstance. For example, for men, you say you should not cover your head, no cap, and you should not use your ihram, for example, because of heat or cold to cover your head. Then, for example, as you are sleeping in your ihram garment, you just woke up to find yourself wrapped totally your head inside your ihram garment. What do? Is it deliberate? Not deliberate. You didn't even know that you did that. So what do? You just remove it. There is no penalty against you. Is that understood? Example number two. For example, you just take nail cutter, you start cutting your fingernail. Cut. Then thereafter you remember it was prohibited. You just stop. No penalty. Or somebody say, brother, please, don't you know that it is prohibited? Oh, sorry. That's all. No, what? No penalty. But as you remember, or somebody reminds you, say, I know. You are in trouble. Because it is what? It is deliberate. Is that understood? So also, okay, one thing I forgot among those prohibitions is applying perfume. You don't use perfume. So even what you are going to use to apply your mancha power, use blue seal that does not have any fragrance. Do you understand? In as much as you are in the state of ihram, don't use pomade that does have some scent. Even the soap you are going to use to take bath, use ordinary one that does not have any fragrance. Because applying perfume for a pilgrim is prohibited. Is that clear? So these are the prohibitions of ihram. Then the next thing is, what are the things permissible even after you are in the state of ihram? There are those things that are still permissible. What are they? Example, wristwatch. You are not asked to remove your wristwatch because you are in the state of ihram. If you are using what? Glasses, it is permissible. If you are using what? Hearing aid, it's also permissible. You can use belt to support your ihram garment to make it well fixed. These are some of the things that you can use. Umbrella because of heat. You use umbrella. There is no problem with that. So these are some of the things that are permissible. Let me have a stop here and then hear from you. You are liable to penalty, and the penalty is feeding of either 6 needy, 3-day fasting. There are 3 things, but these are the things I can remember. one should either feed 6 needy people or observe 3-day fasting. She said, are we allowed to carry bag? You are allowed. Some of the bags which you see people hanging and their either neck or their shoulder or their pocket, especially women, you have that comfort. You sew gown with a pocket this side, and your trouser also has pocket and also zip. It is men that have problem. Men have problem. Where do you keep your money? Where do you do this? We are going to tell you how to do that. So it's permissible, no problem with you taking your bag, maybe keeping some of your necessities, like maybe your books of prayer, maybe your copy of Quran, maybe some other things that are necessary that you want to use. There's no problem in that. Yes. You know, those days are very, very important to the extent that fasting is recommended. We do fast when we are in Nigeria. Then is it the same thing is also applicable to pilgrims? Yes. If a pilgrim want to fast, there is nothing stopping him from doing that because he or she is free. You are just living in Mecca from 1st, 2nd, 3rd up to the 8th. You are not performing anything. You are just going for prayer to the haram, coming back to your hotel and so on. The day you are not going to fast is the day of Arafat. The Prophet ﷺ himself did not fast on the day of Arafat. And then again, 3 days after Yawmun Nahar, fasting is forbidden. Let's say today is Salah day. The 3 days that come after, it is forbidden for anybody to fast. The Prophet ﷺ said that there are days of eating and drinking and dhikrullah, remembrance of Allah. Fasting is forbidden except for a pilgrim who does not have means of offering hadiyah. Is that clear? So you can fast from 1 up to 7. For you to have more comfort, maybe don't fast on the 8th because it is on that day you are going to move to Mina outside Mecca. And you see, you are encouraged as a pilgrim to eat very well, to drink very well, to reserve energy. Is that understood? So if you fast, and it exhausts one's energy, you have specific days that you need extra energy to utilize, especially on the 10th day of the Hijjah, that is Yawmun Nahar. So if you know that fasting will make you exhausted, don't fast. Even from the 1st to the 7th, don't fast. But if you feel that you are strong, fasting will not affect you. You can fast up to 1st to 7th. 8, 9, don't fast. 10, 11, 12, 13, don't fast. Except if you do not have means of slaughtering hadiyah, which Allah said that you should observe 10-day fasting, 3 days in Hajj, and then 7 days idha raja'tum when you come back to your country. Now, okay, let me calm down. Something very, very important, especially as it affects our sisters. The issue of menstruation. So many of them do commit mistakes on the issue of issue of menstruation. What many of them do is that when it happens that the day you are leaving Medina to the Miqat for pilgrims to take ihram, if she happens to be menstruating, what they normally do is that they don't take ihram, they just pass. Other pilgrims do all the preparation, they take their ihram, she doesn't do anything. This is a big mistake. It's a big mistake. Going by the answer or directive the Prophet ﷺ gave to Aisha, when it was time to take ihram, she started weeping. When the Prophet ﷺ came, he said, maybe you were menstruating. She said yes. So okay, don't mind. This is something that Allah the Most High destined on the female daughters of Adam alayhi salatu wasalam. Therefore, do whatever pilgrims are doing, only that you should not perform tawaf until you are pure. So by this, whoever happens to be menstruating at the time of taking ihram, she does not have any problem. You don't have any problem. You take your ihram as any other pilgrim is taking. Do you understand? You proceed to Mecca as they will be going to the haram to perform their umrah. You remain. You remain until you are pure. Then you move ahead to perform your tawaf and sa'i. You don't have any problem. The problem is whereby you refuse to take the ihram, you proceed to Mecca. You did not take ihram at the miqat, and that is compulsory. It is liable to slaughtering of ihram. Is that understood? Did you all understand this ruling? If you are not clear, please let me repeat myself. The sisters, are you all clear? Eh? I didn't hear yes, so just for few years. Let me repeat. In case a woman happen to be menstruating at the time ihram or intention is going to be taken, I say she does not have any problem, no problem at all. What she should do is that she should do whatever pilgrims are doing. She makes preparations for taking her ihram, she takes her ihram, she intends, and then she continues chanting her talbiyah silently, and bearing in mind all those things prohibited are also binding on her. When you reach Mecca, you remain in your hotel. Others will proceed to the haram to perform their tawaf and sa'i to finish their umrah, while you remain until you become pure. You perform your ritual bath. It is then you go ahead and perform your tawaf and sa'i. You don't have any problem. I said the area you have problem is refusing to take your ihram at the miqat. Jumping miqat without taking ihram is violation of a compulsory act. It is liable to slaughtering of ihram to atone that mistake. Angani, is that clearly understood? To Alhamdulillah. So many women do have this problem. She will not tell anybody. She will not ask anybody. It is until in Makkah, then she will say, ai malam ni ban yi harama ba saboda abu kaza kaza. No, please, don't do that mistake, please. Yes, you don't have any problem for menstruating at that point. Wait, take your ihram as any other person is doing. Now, so, do we go ahead? Let's move ahead. You know, we are discussing Umrah and the pillars of Umrah. We have discussed Ihram. What is Ihram? How to take Ihram? Where to take Ihram? What are the prohibitions after taking Ihram? What are the penalties? What are those things permissible? What are the things you are expected to be doing? Immediately you take Ihram, you continue chanting Talbiyah. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik, innal hamda wan ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika lak, labbaik Allahumma labbaik. Can you do Talbiyah? Labbaik Allah. Again. لبيك لا شريك لك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا. This is what is known as what? Talbiyah. Is the slogan. Just in Nigeria, for example, when they are going to inaugurate president, what they do? There must be national anthem, because it's very important function. So that's how Talbiyah is as it relates to Hajj. Okay, we are going to proceed. Now we have taken our ihram at the miqat. We are now back in our buses, moving to where? Moving to where? To Mecca. By the time we reach Mecca, we are going to be taken to our various hotels and be allocated our rooms. Immediately you are allocated your room, you keep your bag. What is next thing you do? What is the next thing in Umrah? What is the next thing? Tawaf. MashaAllah. Okay, what is Tawaf? How do you perform Tawaf? From where do you start Tawaf? How many rounds you do for a set of Tawaf? Tawaf means going around the Kaaba. That is what is known as what? Tawaf. Going around the Kaaba. That is Tawaf. Where do you start your Tawaf? You observe at the corners of Kaaba. There is a corner known as the corner of Hajar al-Aswad. Hajar al-Aswad, corner of the black stone. If you happen to be performing it at the ground floor, you will see the place. If you happen to be in the first floor or second or whatever, you see a green light. So wherever you are, if you come to that green light, if you want to start your tawaf, it is from that point you are going to start. If you want to end your tawaf, it is there you end your tawaf and you count one cycle. So what you should do when you identify that corner of Hajar al-Aswad, then you place Kaaba by your left hand side. By what? Your left hand side. Let's say, for example, this picture. There is a corner here. The corner of black stone. So that is from the corner you are going to start. If Kaaba, you are performing it on the ground, you will see it clearly. You take line. If you are performing it as far as our mosque there, you should still take note of the point of that green light. If you are performing it at the first floor or second, that is where you should. So you make Kaaba by your left hand side. And mark you, tawaf is performed anti-clockwise. You know what is known as clockwise and anti-clockwise? How does your clock move? Your clock moves like this. This is how it moves. But your tawaf moves like this. So, Kaaba by your left hand side, then what is recommended is that if you can touch, if you can kiss the black stone, you kiss, say Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. If you cannot, extend your hand to touch and say Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. If you cannot, from whatever distance, just point at the corner or the direction, say Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, and start going round anti-clockwise. As you go, from the point you started, if you come to that point, you count 1. You do this how many times? 7 rounds. That is a set of tawaf. Is that understood? From where do you start tawaf? From the corner of Hajar al-Aswad. How many times you go around for a set of tawaf? 7 times. Is that understood? Okay. Another thing that you should take note, especially men. In this tawaf you are performing, tawaf of your umrah or tawaf al-qudum, there are 2 features that makes it different from any other tawaf you perform. You are already covered by with your shoulder garment. So before starting that tawaf, you are expected to change the covering and have your right shoulder exposed. Right hand shoulder. Yes. You see it even now if you watch your TV, Saudi Sunnah or Saudi Quran, you see, but it is a mistake. Some pilgrims permanently the shoulder is exposed. It's wrong. It is only when you are performing that tawaf from beginning to the end that you expose your shoulder. As you finish the 7th round, what do? You cover yourself totally and perform 2 rakats behind Maqam Ibrahim or any other place. This is one feature that makes it different from any other tawaf. exposure of right hand shoulder, only for men. Number 2 is jogging. Men are expected to jog in the first 3 rounds of this tawaf. Jogging. Even if you will not have space to jog, you won't have space to jog because of the crowd. So even if it is one place, you should be signifying as if you are jogging. This is how many rounds? How many? 3. What of your shoulder? How many rounds? The whole 7 rounds. Is that clear? All right. When you finish the 7th round, the next thing you do is you perform 2 rak'at prayer. It's preferably behind a place known as Maqam Ibrahim. If you do not have that opportunity because of crowd, wherever you perform it is accepted. Is that clear? Then after that, you take Zamzam water, as much as your stomach can contain. Any water you see in the haram is Zamzam water. So take as much as possible. With this, you have finished your tawaf. That is the second aspect of your umrah. You have done ihram, you have done tawaf. The next thing is what? Is sa'i. So you move, you ask if you do not know where to perform sa'i. Now, what is sa'i? Sa'i means walking between Safa and Marwa. Walking between where? Safa and Marwa. How many times did you walk? How many times did you walk? 10. 7. Did you agree that is 7? Eh? Yes? You agree? You did agree as if you are. Okay, you agree 7. Okay. Next question, let me ask you again. How do you count? How do you count the sa'i? Are you sure? Eh? This is one of the areas that some pilgrims commit mistake, and they end up suffering themselves. They get tired well, because the way they count is that from Safa back to Safa is 1. From Safa back to Safa, they end up doing 14. But the way to count it is this: if this is the point of Safa, you are expected after reaching Safa, you climb a little and face the Qibla, the Kaaba. You read the supplication expected there. أبدأ بما بدأ الله به إن الصفا والمروة من شعائر الله فمن حج البيت أو اعتمر فلا جناح عليه أن يطوف بهما ومن تطوع خيرا فإن الله شاكر عليم الحمد لله أنجز وعدا ونصر عبدا وهزم العذاب وهدى لا إله إلا الله. You do all these supplications, then you move from Safa to Marwa. As you reach Marwa, you count 1. From Marwa back to Safa, you count 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, and why does the 7th one end? It ends where? Let me ask you a question. In case you find yourself counting the 7th one on Safa, what do? You should conclude that you have committed a mistake. So how do you correct that mistake? You should consider the least number. You should consider what? The least number. You are counting 7th one on Safa. So what you should do is that you should consider that you have done 6. So from that Safa, you move again to Marwa, completing it to 7. That's what you should do. Then another thing especially men should take note. In the course of your walking between Safa and Marwa, you take note of green marks, green light, when you are going and when you are coming back. At that point, from where it starts and to the point it ends, men are expected to hasten their walk. The remaining one, you walk normal, but when you come to that point, you do what? you hasten. But this is for only men. Only who? Only men. Even for men, if you happen to be, maybe you are moving with your wife or with your mother or with your sister, don't hasten and leave her behind. You may miss her. So you should walk. It has been, you are exempted. Is that understood? So after doing this 7 times, the next thing in your umrah is only one issue, which is shaving. Shaving. You shave your head. You can come back to your hotel. Along the way, you see barbing salons. So you go and shave your head. And this shaving, it is recommended. If from the day you are finishing your umrah to the day you are starting your hajj, there are so many days, maybe 10 days or even more, what you should do skin cut. Because those days will enable the hair to still grow, so that after hajj, you also shave again. But if from the day you finish umrah to the day you are assuming ihram for hajj, maybe it remains 3 days or 2, what you do, you just trim. You trim your head uniformly. That is shaving. Then shaving marks the end of umrah. Then you take off your ihram garment. You wear your normal clothes. All those things we have mentioned that have been prohibited are now lifted. You can apply your perfume. You can cut your fingernail. Your head is covered. You can use your niqab. You can use your hand glove. You can apply perfume. All those things are now Are now lifted, because you are no more in the state of ihram. Is that understood? Umrah is over. Then for women, we say men should either trim or to shave completely. For women, your shaving is different from that of men. Your shaving is different from that of men. So don't go and do skin cut. By the time you come back, your husband see your head, he's just like his own. And say, Namalam who told us, no, I didn't tell you that one. What you should do, the shaving of women, is that they should, normally their hair is plaited. Just hold each braid, and cut as long as your fingertip. As long as your fingertip. Or you hold the whole hair on top, you cut the topmost part of it as long as your fingertip. That is what shaving as for women. Then from there, your umrah is complete. You enter into your normal dress, and all the things that are mentioned to have been prohibited are now permissible. With this marks the end of umrah. It marks what? The end of umrah. I hope it is clear. During tawaf, pointing at the corner of Hajar al-Aswad, is it at the starting point only, or subsequently whenever you come? Pointing at Hajar al-Aswad should be whenever you come round. As you are taking a new round, say, you point and say Allahu Akbar and go. But there is a mistake some are doing. What they do is that you see people doing like this. See? No. What you do, you only kiss your hand if you succeed in touching. Yeah, you extend the hand and touch, then you kiss your hand. But in case you are not able to do that, you are just pointing from far. You don't kiss your hand, you just do Allahu Akbar and then you proceed. That's number one. Number two, purity in the state of ihram. In case one's ablution gets vitiated, what one is going to do? This is a very good question, and it happens. You manage yourself, you suffer, you are in the 6th round, you are in the 7th round, you are about to finish, then your ablution goes vitiated. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. It's a great problem. It said that the Prophet ﷺ said that the tawaf is just like salat, except that it is permissible for one to talk in the process of tawaf. So from this saying, it is understood that tawaf should be performed in the state of purity, in the state of ablution. Then what if one's ablution gets spoiled? It's unfortunate that we have, there is a book I wrote on Hajj, but the English one has been exhausted. Understanding Hajj and Umrah with relevant supplications. But for those of you who can read Hausa, the Hausa copy is available. Fahimtar aikin Hajj da Umrah, all these issues have been discussed there. You see, some scholars said that if one's ablution gets vitiated, he can still continue to complete his tawaf, there is no problem. And I subscribe to that view because of the difficulty, great difficulty it entails for you to go and renew your ablution and then to come and start afresh from one. Try and see that you manage that the ablution did not get vitiated. But if it does, just continue your tawaf according to the fatwa of some scholars. I subscribe to that because of the great difficulty it entails. Next question, supplication during sa'i. Let me include either during tawaf. Either during sa'i or during tawaf, you can read any supplication, no specific supplication that must be read either in tawaf or in sa'i. Only that there are some recommended supplications. In that book I'm referring you to, there is a chapter known as on recommended supplication, right from the time you are going out from your house to the time you come back. Those of you who can read Hausa, they can get the copy. There are recommended supplications at almost every point, but no supplication is compulsory that if you do not do it, you have problem. For example, during your tawaf, as you are coming round from the what is known as corner of before the corner of Hajar al-Aswad, you are expected to read Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhaban nar. But apart from that, any supplication, you can read Quran, you can read Salatun Nabi, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin to the end. You can read Rabbana atina fid dunya. You can read whatever. But I want to advise you that it is a point of accepting dua. And you have plenty, trailer loads of requests. Allah, ina son kaza. I need this, I need this, I need that. You cannot even exhaust. Oh Allah bani kaza, oh Allah bani kaza. To the end, Allah, you know. Because you cannot be able to exhaust all those things you need. Your husband says you should pray for him. Your parents say you should pray for him. Your parents, your friends, your neighbors, your whatever, your children, what do you do? What you should do is that take those dua that are so summarized and precise and they entail everything. If you hold Rabbana Atina Fid Dunya at every point of your Hajj, you are covered. Whatever you are looking of goodness in this world and hereafter, it is taken care of. Whatever evil you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect you, it has been taken care of. That's why it is reported that it is the dua the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to recite more frequently. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhaban nar. And if you memorize so many dua, there is nothing wrong for you to read this one, to read that one, to read this one, to read that one, or to hold your dua book. As you are moving, you are reading. As you are moving, you are reading. Only that you should not be concentrating on it because you may stumble on somebody. It's better if you memorize it as you just take the beginning, then you continue up to the end. But there is no specific supplication, only that there are recommended supplications. Using phones as guidance in supplication, I think this one is taken care of. You can use your phone. Maybe there are prayers there you can be reading. But it's better if you can read offhand, because maybe with a crowd, for example, if they move you, they squeeze you, maybe the phone may fall down. From that point you miss it because you can't be able to bend down and take it. So advisably, just use what you memorize, or you just make some jottings on a piece of paper which you can be reading. The next one, using analgesics, those drugs that can give you more energy, for example. So I'm not a medical doctor. If we have a doctor here, because they may have their own, such drugs may have their own side effects, but I know if it is not every day, and it is one did not become addict to it, one can use it. But if there is a medical doctor among you, please let him help us. Nobody? What of a nurse? Any medical personnel? Nobody? Okay. He who does 14 instead of 7, then 7 is considered, the rest one, he just suffer. Let him ask Allah to reward him for, for doing that. Then specific dua during tawaf, a sister asked that one. I think I have answered it. No specific dua. You can read any dua that you know that is authentic, either in the Quran or the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربي أوزعني أن أشكر نعمتك التي أنعمت علي وعلى والدي وأن أعمل صالحا ترضاه. After completing Umrah, is it compulsory for one to be performing Tawaf? After completing Umrah, you're now free. You just go to the Haram to perform prayer. Is it compulsory to be performing Tawaf? It is not compulsory. Any Tawaf you perform is just voluntary Tawaf. If you like to perform Tawaf every day, you can do it. If you are not strong to perform Tawaf, just continue doing Nawafil, reciting the Quran, because no more Tawaf compulsory for you. The one compulsory, you have done it. Then the next one that is compulsory is after Tawaful Ifadah, when you are doing your own Hajj. Tahiyatul Masjid. You don't perform Tahiyatul Masjid when you enter. Your Tahiyatul Masjid is that Tawaf you perform immediately you enter into the mosque. But subsequently, for example, when you finish your Umrah, anytime you enter, you perform Tahiyatul Masjid before you sit down. That dua, is it every round of the sa'i you perform, you say the dua, or before you start? I think that is one of the questions by a sister, that is it every round or in the sa'i that you perform tawaf and then you pray, or it's just before you start? Inshallah, let's leave this question till tomorrow. Inshallah, I'll visit it. The other one, either you say Bismillah, Allah Akbar, or Allah Akbar only on the subsequent round of your tawaf. Inshallah, we take it tomorrow because I don't want to assume or to say what I'm not sure of. Supplication, you supplicate or you state your needs. I don't know, is that what you said? That you supplicate or you state your needs? Okay. Is this supplication, or you just tell Allah, oh Allah, I need this, and that, or you continue reciting, for example, Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana, Allahumma inni abduka, ibnu abduka, and so on. Is that what you are asking? So, anyone you do, but preferably what you should do is that read something like praises to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through his beautiful names, Salatul Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and then you may continue to listen to mention, oh Allah, grant me this, oh Allah, grant me this, oh Allah, grant me this, oh Allah, give me this, oh Allah, protect me from this, oh Allah, protect me from this. You can decide to take a supplication that coincides with what you are looking for. For example, if, for example, a man or a woman is looking for a child, an issue, Rabbi la tazarni fardan wa anta khairul warithin, for example, Rabbi la tazarni fardan wa anta khairul warithin. You can still mention it, oh Allah, bless me with righteous children. Oh Allah, let me have peace in my house. Oh Allah, let me have peace of mind with my wife or with my husband, or and so on. Oh Allah, bless my children. Or you can decide to read Rabbana hab lana min azwajina wa dhurriyyatina qurrata a'yun waj'alna lil muttaqina imama. is a prayer for blessing on the entire one's family. Okay, I think these are the questions. The rest, inshallah, we'll take them tomorrow. Did we exhaust our today's timetable? Hajj rites. You have the timetable, Nabi? Hajj rites, rituals, types of Hajj, how to perform Hajj. I don't want to discuss so much, bearing in mind that most of you are first timers. So, and this is not normal knowledge like Salat, for example. We do observe Salat every day. So, we know so many things about Salat. But Hajj, if you are not going to perform Hajj, usually we don't read anything about Hajj. So, if the discussion is so lengthy and so much is said, I think it will, there will be, the understanding will be small. We take intention at where? In a room? Where do we take intention? We take intention at Miqat. At where? At Miqat. But this time around, what you should understand is that your Miqat is your hotel where you stay in Mecca. Because the Miqat of people of Mecca, if they want to perform Hajj, is their various houses. Therefore, you are treated the same thing. Is that understood? So your ihram, your miqat is your house. You make all the preparations we have mentioned earlier and assume ihram again. This time around, your intention is what? You say, Labbaik Allahumma Hajjan. Labbaik Allahumma what? Hajjan. The earlier one, you say, Labbaik Allahumma what? Umratan. But this one, Labbaik Allahumma, oh Allah, I have intended to perform what? Umrah. Is that understood? Then from there, you start chanting Talbiyah. On that day, pilgrims are going to be taken to a place known as Mina. We are going to be allocated tents according to our countries and according to our states. In Mina, the activity of that day is that you perform your Zuhur, Asr, Maghrib, Isha prayer. Each 4 rak'ah prayer is observed 2 rak'ahs, Qasr. But Subhi and Maghrib are not shortened. Then in the morning you perform Subhi prayer, and from there on the 9th, that day is known as the day of Arafat. We move from Mina to where? To Arafat. Arafat, according to the Prophet ﷺ, is the best day. He said, Al-Hajju Arafah. Arafah is the Hajj. So every pilgrim must participate, must go to Arafah. Even if a pilgrim is sick, he or she has to be taken, even if it is in an ambulance, to witness Arafat. If not, then the Hajj will not be valid. So by the time we arrive at Arafat, mostly it's before Zuhur. And this time around, pilgrims are even being conveyed in the night, on the 8th in the night. So in the morning, you are already in Arafat. So the activities of Arafat start from the midday, when Zuhur and Asr are going to be observed, Qasr and combined, meaning 2 rakat each, and they should be combined. Immediately you terminate Zuhur, you do Iqamah for Asr. Please and please don't suffer yourself that you say you must go to the mosque of Arafat. Where you may be kept may be as long as between here, this place, to around Asokoro, where the mosque of Arafat may be. If we are lucky, our tents in Arafat may be as close as maybe Use Market, and that is unlikely. Some pilgrims will insist that they have to go to Arafat Mosque to join Salat there. And they even have to go to climb the Mount Arafat. Nobody asks you to do that. And you should not do it because it is normally hot. The weather is normally hot. The distance is normally long distance. And the more you walk, the more you exhaust yourself, whereby you are expected to reserve energy for the 10th day when you are going to do some tedious rites of Hajj. So please, where you are camped, please stay there. So far you are within the territory of Arafat, Alhamdulillah, you got your Hajj. For state pilgrims, especially FCT, preachers are allocated to every tent, men and women tents. We lead them in prayers. We preach and we inform them what they are expected to do on that day. And then we leave for our tents, and everyone will start the activity of Arafat immediately after the Asr prayer. I told you that it's going to be done Qasr and combined. Two rakat each. That is Zuhr and Asr 2 rakat. As you terminate Zuhr, you do Iqama for Asr. As you terminate Asr, then what remains for you is to stand on your feet to face the Qibla for supplications. You should be supplicating. Ask all that you need. The best dua, according to the Prophet ﷺ, is the one offered on the day of Arafat. And whatever you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on that day, inshallah, you are going to be granted. So don't play with that day. It is a very, very important and very serious day, whereby Allah the Most High is pleased, is happy with his servants and telling angels, see my servants coming from all parts of the globe. What are they looking for? Say, mercy of Allah. It's Allah will say, bear witness that I have forgiven all of them. Do you understand? And the Prophet ﷺ said that the best ever you can utter on the day of Arafah is La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu lahul mulku wa lahul hamdu wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. Is that understood? You can read any supplication, but the best supplication you can read on the day of Arafah is La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu lahul mulku wa lahul hamdu wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. Other supplications looking for all the goodness of this world and the hereafter and everything, you can read them. Pray for yourself very well. Pray for your parents. Pray for your family. Pray for your children. Pray for this, our country, Nigeria. And pray for the world at large for peace and stability. You know the challenges we are facing in the country, in Nigeria. This banditry, insecurity, economic problem, and so on. If you pray for Nigeria, you are praying for yourself. Because any instability, it affects you as well as it will affect any other person. So pray for stability. Now, for example, Sudan is in crisis, is in war. And that war affects not only Sudanese, it affects us. It affects us as Muslims because they are our brothers being killed. It affects us, so many of our children who are studying there, they are now back to Nigeria. Some who are living there, transacting their businesses, they are now back to Nigeria. Now it affects you directly as pilgrims. Because your journey to Mecca before is roughly 4 hours. Now it will take you 7 hours to reach, because you can't pass through Sudan. And even the Hajj fare also, I know some airlines insisted that $250 has to be increased in your airfare. I don't know of the private tours, but for the pilgrims, I think the government has intervened. The airlines has reduced something, but still, every pilgrim must bear $100 additional. So what they did, they say that a pilgrim is entitled to $800 as his or her BTA. Every pilgrim will be given some 100 now. You see how instability in another country will affect you in Nigeria. What more if it is in Nigeria? So please pray for peace and stability for our dear nation and all the nations of the Muslims. Again, during Arafat, make sure you concentrate Make sure you pray very well. Make sure that you didn't be lazy, and make sure that you face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with broken heart. You weep, you declare, you present yourself to Allah as someone who commits sin, who is sincerely looking for forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is the best day and the best ever place you can be present as a Muslim. So it is indeed very, very serious day. You stand, continue supplicating and praying. If you are tired of standing, you sit down. If you are tired of sitting down, you can even lie down. Even if you sleep, provided you are within the territory of Arafah, alhamdulillah, you got your Hajj. We remain in Arafah up to sunset. When the sun sets, it is time for Maghrib. We are not going to observe Maghrib there. We are going to be taken from Arafat back to Muzdalifah. Mark you, Mina, there are tents in Mina, and there is little comfort. You are going to be given a mattress that you buy for your nursery child here. Very narrow mattress. That's where, I don't know, except the VIPs there who are near the Jamrat. But that's our pilgrims. It is just half of this table that you are going to be given. You say, Kai, this is me. See how my bed was in Nigeria. I have 10 by 10. My mattress was automatic. Was it whatever it is? That's how we are going to manage. For you to know that your journey is signifying journey to the grave and to the hereafter. In Arafat also there are tents. But when you come to Muzdalifah, you understand yourself. No tent, no mattress, nothing, an open place. It is if you are lucky from Makkah, you buy a mat. That's what you are going to spread and maybe lie down and just relax yourself. Or from Arafat, the empty cartons they use in giving food, sharing food to you, if you carry an empty one, you open it, that will be your mattress. Is that understood? So that you know that yes, the journey is a serious one. We are all servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, equal before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No one is better except he who fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more than the other. Is that clear? So at Muzdalifah you perform your Maghrib and Isha. Maghrib how many rakats? 3 rakats. Isha how many? 2 rakats. Then you just find a place, if it is possible. It's even not possible for you to sleep. Because sound of people passing, sound of vehicles, you can't be able to sleep. But at least if you lie down, you have some relaxation so that you prepare yourself for the 10th day. When it is midnight, it is permissible for women and aged ones to pass to come to Mina. But those who are healthy and strong must sleep at Muzdalifah. It's one of the compulsory acts of Hajj. When it is morning, we observe Subhi prayer. Then we take a long time facing the Qibla, observing supplications. Then we pick pebbles in order to prepare for one of our activities of the 10th day. After Muzdalifah, the following day is known as what? Is the 10th day. That is day of sacrifice, or Yawmun Nahar. Is that understood? So that day is the most serious day of Hajj, very, very tedious. The activities of that day, number one, you are going to stone the Jamratul Aqaba. You are going to slaughter your hadiyah. You are going to shave. Then you are going to perform your tawaf and sa'i. So from Muzdalifah, you pick pebbles. How many pebbles are you going to pick? How many? 7 or 70? 7? So 70. Bakwai. You pick 7 pebbles. When you come to Mina, the first activity you are expected to do is the stoning of the Jamrat. There are three pillars. One of them known as Jamratul Aqaba, the big Jamra, the Jamratul Wusta, the middle Jamra, the small Jamra, that is Jamratul Sogora. But on the 10th day, you are only concerned with one of them, that is the Jamratul Aqaba. Those 7 you can pick You can pick 10 with extra. You know, now you cannot miss your target because the pillars are expanded. They are expanded. You can't miss your target. Only that the benefit of carrying extra is that as you are holding them, for example, in your hand like this, if any of them falls down, don't bend. Don't bend in an effort to pick. Just replace it. Because of crowd, as you bend, something ugly may happen. May Allah protect. So don't bend. So you use the extra you are holding in order to replace the one that falls down. So you stone Jamratul Aqaba 7 times, one after the other. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Out to how many times? 7 times. Some, if they see that they are suffering hardship, what they do, they just throw the whole 7 at once. If you do that, you only succeeded in 20 only once. So you must do the remaining 6. So it's one after the other, 7 times. 7 times. Then as you do that, the next one is Nahar. You are Hadiyah. As a pilgrim who performs tamattu, you are liable to slaughtering Hadiyah. This one, if you have already paid, because there are points of payment in either Medina or Mecca, you pay your money, they will give you a receipt. You see the breakdown, average price of ram, slaughtering, prison, and so on, everything you pay. And I learned that there is arrangement here that you pay through Jaiz Bank. I learned that when we were doing induction course for the pilgrims. Say there is arrangement and it's acceptable, you can pay through Jaiz Bank. But if you are not comfortable with that, when you go to Mecca, make your payment even before you start your Hajj. So if you had made payment even before starting your Hajj, it means you have stoned Jamratul Aqaba and already you have been covered about the issue of slaughtering your Hadiyah. What next? Then is what? Shaving. You are expected to shave complete shaving. Because the Prophet ﷺ prayed 3 times for those shaving after Hajj. Then he prayed only once for those trimming their head. So may Allah forgive those who shave. May Allah forgive those who shave. He was being reminded, oh Prophet, including those who trim their hair. But he mentioned it only once at the 4th time. So what are you going to do with the hair? Shave it completely. Women, you shave the way we have mentioned. So you have succeeded in performing how many activities? 3. Out of how many? Out of how many? 4 or 5? Let's say 4. So if you are still strong, from there you move to Makkah. Very, very long journey. And you won't have a vehicle. You are going to trek it. No car, nothing. You are going to trek it. And I think, if I'm not forgotten, I think it is as long as up to 9 kilometers. Who knows exact distance? How many kilometers? So you should start exercising yourself. Journey from here trekking to Use Market is a problem for you. You find yourself trekking for 9 kilometers. So if you feel you are still strong, you move to Makkah, perform your tawaf and perform your sa'i, and then after that you come back to Mina again. Is that understood? If you feel you cannot go, after performing these activities, just go back to your tent. The tawaful ifadah that is performed on the 10th day is not compulsory that you must perform it on the 10th day. You can delay it up to after your stay in Mina, after the 13th day when you are back to Makkah, after 14th, after 15th, when it is a little bit, the crowd a little bit subsides, then you perform your tawaf and sa'i. Is that understood? Another thing that you should understand, on the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, you know we mentioned how many activities? We mentioned stoning. We mentioned slaughtering of hadiyah. We mentioned shaving. We mentioned tawaf and sa'i. If you succeed in performing any two, then you have come to the end of the first take-off. First take-off by implication. At that point, you can take off your ihram garment. All the things that are prohibited for someone in ihram are lifted except sexual intercourse. That one until you finish everything, including your tawaf and sa'i. Are we clear with the first take-off of ihram? On the 10th day, if you succeed in performing any two activities of that day, then you have done what is known as tahallul al-awwal, first take-off of ihram. At that point, you can take off you can wear your normal dress, you can shave, you can apply perfume, you can do all those things. What remains is only sexual intercourse until you finish everything, including your tawaf and the sa'i. So that is activities of the 10th. Then 11th, 12th, and the 13th. These 3 days are days pilgrims are expected to be in Mina. They are known as Ayyamu Tashriq. What is the name? Ayyamu Tashriq. Tashreeq. Ayyamu Tashriq. The 3 days after the day of sacrifice are known as what? Ayyamu Tashriq. All pilgrims are expected to be in Mina at that time. Those are the days the Prophet ﷺ said that they are days of eating, drinking, and dhikrullah, mentioning the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fasting is forbidden except for a pilgrim who does not have means of offering hadiyah. So you are expected to be in Mina within those days. On the 11th, what is the activities of the 11th? On the 11th day, the activities is stoning of the jamrat, those pillars. And you are going to stone all the three jamrats. What is normally done is that countries are allocated time, and it will be announced, especially in the pilgrim side, that it is time for stoning. The people, staff of the Mutawaf and the preachers and other ad hoc staff will lead pilgrims batch by batch to the place of stoning. But for those of you going through international, you may not have that guidance. I don't know their arrangement, but they normally just abandon people, everyone to do his business. So when it is time for stoning, what should be done is that you pick pebbles. This time around, you pick how many pebbles? 21 pebbles. You can pick with extra. When you come to the place of stoning, you start your stoning starting from the first one, that is Jamratul Sughra. You stone it 7 times, one after the other. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, up to 7 times. Then when you finish, the place is overcrowded. You just get aside where there's less crowd and face the Qibla and take a long time to offer supplications. Then you move collectively to the Jamratul Sughra, Wusta, the middle Jamra. You also stone it how many times? 7 times. Then you set aside and face the Qibla and offer supplications. Then you move to the last one, Jamratul Aqaba, the one you stone yesterday, on the 10th. You equally stone it how many times? 7. One after the other. After that, there is no supplication. You don't supplicate after stoning Jamratul Aqaba. Is that understood? So from there, you move, you go back to your tents in Mina. On the 12th day also, you pick another 21 pebbles and repeat the same exercise, starting from the Sughra, the Wusta, and the Jamratul Aqaba. You supplicate after the first one, you supplicate after the second one, The last one, no supplication. If you want to round up your Hajj on the 12th, from there, you just move. You trek back to Mecca. Your Hajj is complete if you already perform your Tawaf al-Ifadah and Sa'i. But if you feel you cannot trek, the arrangement for pilgrims, especially the FCT, I know, you go back to the tents. Buses will be brought that will take you to Mecca on the 12th. But if you want to extend up to the 13th, that was what the Prophet ﷺ did, and it is the best if you can do it. But out of, let's say, 4,000 pilgrims of a particular state, hardly can you find 100 people who will extend up to the 13th day. Everyone will be eager to go back to Mecca. But for those who extend up to 13th, when it is time for the stoning, they will pick another 21 pebbles and come and do the same thing, repeat the same exercise. Sabun, supplication, no supplication, one after the other. With this, Hajj is complete. They will also be conveyed to Mecca, and then from there, every activity of Hajj has been finished, except those who are not able to perform their tawaf on the 10th. They can go and perform their tawaf and sa'i, and that tawaf and sa'i, they are tawaf of Hajj. They are pillars. If one misses any of them, Hajj is not valid. So with the performance of tawaf and sa'i, everything of the activities of Hajj is over except only one, which is known as tawaful wada. Tawaful what? Tawaful wada. Farewell tawaf, fair end of your stay in Mecca. The Prophet ﷺ said that let your last activity when you are leaving Mecca, be at the Kaaba. So you go and perform your tawaf al-wada, you go 7 rounds the Kaaba, there is no sa'i. That clear? No sa'i, no farewell sa'i. You just perform tawaf al-wada, then you come out. From there, your bags are already ready, your bus is waiting for you, then you are going to be conveyed to Jeddah, from Jeddah back to Nigeria. This is in brief, the procedure of Hajj. And from the beginning to the end, that is the procedure of Hajj Tamattu. Is that understood? Hajj what? Hajj Tamattu. May Allah the Most High make it easy for all of us. May Allah the Most High give us sound health, iman, courage, and so on, to perform the Hajj successfully and to perform to the best of our ability to serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Along with other pilgrims, all the supplications, she will perform all supplications, only that no prayer. She comes back for stoning, she shave, she do everything, only that she should wait a little for her tawaf. When she is pure, she will perform it. So you don't have any problem just because you are menstruating when Hajj activities are being performed. No problem at all. Yes. Question, please. Any question? Yes, Haji. Now, can you what? Sorry, Allah, I did not hear. Stones from Muzdalifah? Yeah. Okay. All of them? Yeah. Okay. Alaikum salam. Naam? Sorry, clear. She's talking of Qasr. Haji, did you hear what she said? Alaikum salam. Yes. Okay, okay. Alaikum salam.
What is advisable for the Tawaf Ibadah aside for one to do it on event or to delay it until the other days because of the crowd? Based on experience, what do you advise?
Our sister asked whether one can pick all the stones, Mina, meaning 7 plus 21 plus 21 plus 21. How many? 70, oh? Eh? Can you pick all the stones from Muzdalifah? There's no harm in picking all of them from Muzdalifah, especially if you have where to keep them. But for men who do not have pockets and you do not have any bag to keep them, it will be a problem for you. Eh? So if you know that it will not disturb you, you can pick everything from there. But it is recommended to pick only 7, but no problem if you pick more than that from Muzdalifah. Qasr. All the prayers in Mina are Qasr, not only that of the Eids. All the prayers, all 4 rakat prayer is Qasr, 2 rakats. So what advice from experience can I give for issue performing Tawaf al-Ifadah on the 10th or to delay it? So it depends on someone's ability, but I assure you, even the Saudi authority do send text messages to pilgrims that they should delay, because the crowd is overwhelming. The crowd is overwhelming indeed. It is indeed a very, very serious and tough day. So, if one tries and performs it that day, so he has been covered. Alhamdulillah, he is done with that activity. But to me, if I'm to advise, you should delay it. As you finish your stoning of Jamratul Aqaba, you shave, you already pay your hadiyah, go back and remain in your tent. When you finish your stay in Mina, after the 12th day or 13th, when you are back to Makkah, so even that time, wallah, is not easy. Even that time. Very, very tough. But just manage and go and perform it. So they do discourage people from even perform it on that day. But if one feels that he can do it, but from experience, if it is me, that's what I normally do. I do delay. I don't perform it on the 10th. I do delay up to 13th, 15th, or as the case may be, in order to have at least little ease, at least. Even as you delay, it's not easy. May Allah make it easy for us. Now, I think it's time for us to go. Yes, Hajjah. Anybody? Eid prayer during the Hajj. One is not concerned with Eid prayer. But what some people do is that they don't sleep in Muzdalifah. So right in the night, as they come to Muzdalifah, they don't wait. It's very wrong. They just pass. If they pass so early, by the time they will arrive even before Subuhi prayer in the Haram. So they will join Subuhi prayer and Eid prayer, and they perform their tawaf and sa'i before so many crowd was able to arrive. But the mistake there is that it is a mistake for someone who is healthy, who is strong, who is man, not a woman, not sick, not aged person, to pass in the night. But for women, they can pass in the night and come to, at least if they reach on time, to perform it with little ease and also even join the Eid prayer if they are able. But Eid prayer is not binding on a pilgrim performing Hajj. Allah Alam. Any other question? So I think in the absence of question, we meet tomorrow, inshallah, for other activities and then the practicals by the grace of Allah. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it possible for all of us here to perform this year's Hajj. And may Allah the Most High make it easy for us. And may He subhanahu wa ta'ala give us courage, iman, health to perform the best we could in the Hajj. And may we attain forgiveness, success, and may our prayers be granted by the special grace of Allah. The incoming government in Nigeria that is about to take over, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make the government successful, and all those who have been elected, may Allah the Most High give them wisdom, focus, and iman to do the best they could for this country and their various states. May Allah the Most High make it easy for all of us. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته